What's up, guys? This is Seville with another WWE Elite Collection Hall of Champions action figure review, featuring Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, otherwise known as the New Age Outlaws, two members of D-Generation X. These figures are based on one of the many times they were World Tag Team Champions, specifically in 1998. If you can give me just a minute, I'll have them both out of their boxes. If you enjoy this review, be sure to give it a thumbs up and comment below. And if you want to see more from me, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. Now that they're both out of the packages, I'm going to give them another full rotation on the spinner. That way you can see them all the way around. The Hall of Champions line is exclusive to Target and replaced last year's Hall of Fame line. In this line, every single figure does include some sort of championship title belt. In the case of the New Age Outlaws, they each included one of the World Tag Team title belts. These belts have been released before with other figures, so this is just another way to get them. Speaking of prior releases, the New Age Outlaws have been made before. The Road Dogg and Billy Gunn figures that I just pulled to the front actually came from Elite Series number 26. Originally, Road Dogg came with his own solo shirt that you see, as well as the black shirt with the silver logo. I always thought that looked funny, so I put the black shirt on him instead and let Road Dogg keep the solo shirt. But now, Billy Gunn gets his own black shirt, while Road Dogg's is just painted on. I really wish Mattel would get more consistent with how they treat the shirts. Personally, I prefer the cloth ones on the wrestlers because they're easier to take on and off for the entrance gear and things of that nature. But when you have some that's painted on, some that's looser fitted rubber materials, and some that's cloth, it just really messes up the overall look of the collection. With all that said though, it's time to compare these figures to their rightful counterpart, starting with Billy Gunn. From the neck down, these two figures are almost exactly the same piece, with the only real differences being in the paints and the way the knee pads are formed on the back. But the main sculpt itself does not change at all. Of course, the main difference in the paints are going from green tights to pink tights, as well as a larger section of the wrist tape, but as I said, that doesn't change the sculpt, it's just paint. The real difference, however, is in the head sculpts. The new one does look a lot more like Billy Gunn to me, and definitely shows the improvements they've made for facial accuracy. The hair is also now shorter and not quite as wavy in the back. Plus, the color of his hair is probably more accurate too, making him more recognizable than he was. Since his body didn't change, neither did his articulation, but I'll still show all the points that he has. It's pretty much all the expected spots for the Elite Series. In the neck, shoulders, biceps, single elbow, and wrist, as well as the ab crunch and waist twist, plus the hips, thighs, the double knee, which does work better with the new knee pads, the calves, and the ankle joints. So while there are some improvements to the new one, it may not really be worth it to upgrade if you only want one and you've already got the green one. And now, let's take a look at Road Dogg and compare it to his Elite 26 counterpart. Just like with Billy Gunn, the body sculpt from the neck down does not change. However, the paints are clearly different, with, as I mentioned earlier, the shirt being painted on now. Plus, the tattoos are out of alignment. The one on his upper arm is pretty close, but on the older figure it's slightly bigger, so it seems a little more detailed. The forearm tattoos don't really sync up at all though. His pants do use the same sculpt too, but the designs down the sides and on the boots have changed pretty significantly, with an almost entirely new look. Much like with Billy Gunn though, the real improvement is on the head sculpt, once again making him more recognizable than before. And with his hair up like it is, you can see the Dreamcatcher tattoo on the back of his head. But I have to admit, there's a lot of paint slop around the neckline where the shirt was painted on. I really wish that was just a separate piece. Articulation wise, it's just like Billy Gunn, with points in the neck, shoulders, biceps, elbows, wrist, ab crunch, and waist. Plus, joints in the hips, thighs, double knees, calves, and ankles. So just like before, I find it difficult to say it's worth the improvement if you've already got the older figure. But, what if you don't have the older figure? If that is the case, then it's time to run through my guidelines for a complete and fair review. These figures do reuse a lot of old parts, but the updates have made them more accurate. There's not really a lot of detail in them, but they do have more than 20 points of articulation. They are in scale with the rest of the line, balanced pretty well, and do have many accessories. They're not too fragile, and the roughly $20 price point is fair. The worst part about these figures is having to find them inside a Target store or secondhand, because they're not available on Target's website. But even with those issues stated, they still get a 7-star rating, meaning they are amazing and worth owning for all fans of the characters. So if you're in need of a Road Dogg and Billy Gunn for your collection, there's nothing wrong with getting these. But if you're already happy with the ones from Elite 26, there's no real reason to be in a hurry to hunt these down too. Thank you guys for watching, and if you like this review,
Get over here!
And subscribe to Civilian Collectibles.